Hello and welcome to Big Brother Drama. A lot of drama this week in the Big Brother household. I think it could have all been avoided, but that's just me.
It always can.
If people can be sensitive to other people's feelings, then maybe, yeah.
Or be self-aware.
I don't know. It's just a way to handle things. It's like, I don't know. What side do you guys fall? Because I was like, at one point, I go, okay, they're all driving me crazy. I guess I'm getting older because when I'm younger, yeah, I'll watch two people fight. I don't care.
Well, it all started with, she put them on the block, right? And then neither one of them wins the veto, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So then you have Tyler coming and saying, not stirring the pot, but they would have been okay. I think they would have come to terms with it. Everything would have been okay if they're like, one of us is going home. This sucks, but whatever. Yeah. She's not going to change she put us up. She's not going to save one of us. Fine. But then Tyler comes in there with the waterworks and say, I feel so bad that I treated you poorly and I'm going to throw myself on the sword and save you. And they're like, what?
He gave them hope.
Yes. And then it was snatched from them and they were pretty, I don't know. I think that was the super disappointing.
He's dropped a few times in conversations, though, that he just wasn't feeling the house this year. And that he was really missing Angela and he's wanting to go home. So it's not like it's a new concept that he came up with. I think he was sincere in that he felt like he could fix something. And I think he really wants people to like him. But he's kind of really wanting out.
Did he really think Christmas was going to go for that, though?
Yeah.
No way.
Here's the thing.
That's the thing.
They shut down feeds in the HOH room when that whole conversation was happening, and he was up there with Christmas for a really long time. And that's where a lot of tension was going on for Day and Bay, because it was really hard for them to understand if he was sincere or if he was just pulling a move.
Right.
And I really think that created a lot more tension than was probably anticipated.
Yeah. Yeah, that made a lot more. It was more than just the normal, you get nominated, you don't save yourself, you're going home. It was more than that, because there were
right.
more or less.
And I don't want to say that I'm 100% accurate with this, but I think that CBS edited the line of events didn't happen quite the way that the edit happened, because I think there was so much that was going on between that whole situation, the fight between Bayleigh and Christmas and Davonne and Cody's grandpa passing away. There was just a ton that happened in like a 4-day time span, 3-day time span. So I think that the edit had to kind of make a flow, and it isn't. I don't think it's in chronological order. Not exactly.
Do you think that the conversation in the bathroom between Davonne and Christmas happened after she didn't use the power of veto?
I cannot remember, and I didn't have time right after the episode to check and see. If anybody in the comments knows, pop in with it. But I feel like they were. I want to say that the Tyler saying I'm gonna ask her to put myself up happened way closer to the time of that fight, because the episode that we got last night too with Ian and having his like health issues with his anxiety, that was all happening at the same time. Oh, so I just, like I said, it was like,
wait a minute, but that was, he was out for the POV. They were already fighting before the POV?
There's the house has been nutters all week. Like there hasn't been a lot of in your face fighting. That was about the only time that was really happening. But there was a lot of like someone would walk by and someone go da 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 da. Everybody is like at high tense level. Like Danny was getting really mad because she was trying to go to the kitchen without Ian and without Tyler and without Christmas walking through. She just wanted some alone time. And then like an hour later, Davonne's like really freaking out because she's like, they have an alliance. I know they have an alliance because all of a sudden Danny goes off to the kitchen, and then Tyler goes off to the kitchen, and then Ian goes off to the kitchen. And so there's already like major misreading happening about
paranoia.
It's just, it's really set in. It's just, like I said, it's been a nuts week. I haven't had a lot of time to sit down and actually watch the feeds. I'm just kind of getting the updates as they come. But I do think there's a little bit of the order that we saw over the last 2 days that was moved around for storytelling.
Do you think the drama came from the fact the first 4 evictions were no big deal? They were already like laid out. And, and everybody was just kind of sitting back. Okay, we don't have to play the game yet. This is boom, boom, boom. The 4 people we wanted out are gone. And all of a sudden, like Christmas said, I went and made the tough move that no one else was willing to make. She did put 2 people up there.
Right, but if you're willing to make the big moves and you're willing, then you have to keep your head down too. After she doesn't use the power veto, dude, go back to your HOA room or HOA room and just go hang out. Like, you don't have to mix with them. Let them have their feels, because she knew what Tyler had told them. So she knew that they had hopes up that she was going to use the thing and put Tyler out. And then she didn't do it. So you just walk away. You don't sit there and act like, well, why is she mad at me? No.
Right. It's exactly what Davonne was saying, is like, you are angry because she has hurt feelings over something you did.
Right.
And, it is what it is. It's part of the game. But she missed a really good opportunity, I think, because if she didn't want to put Tyler up, in one of their places because that's her ride or die, I understand that, or her untouchable, because that's a thing this year. It's that, she could have put Ian up. She could have put Memphis up. She's got had enough conversations with Danny and Nikki that she could have put Nicole. She could have put somebody else up in honor of good faith.
Isn't Memphis in her alliance though?
Well, maybe not her direct alliance, but she's got a couple people she's been tossing around too for, that, and other people have tossed around. So if she would have talked to Nicole and Danny and kind of see where they're at, and then talk to Tyler, she still would have been good. She would have been making a bigger move, I think.
From a player standpoint, can we put some blame on Bayleigh? Because information for games like this is key. I mean, information in life is so important. And when you give someone, she's my untouchable. It's like, okay. I mean, it's like, that was not a smart thing to say.
Bayleigh gave her information that everyone in the house already knew.
Yeah, it wasn't too hard to see that they were.
But again, is that it's why I say this in Survivor all the time. Is that their fault though?
Sure.
I mean, the last thing you want to do is let people know that you're like, this was somebody.
Yeah, I think that there's definitely some fault with Bayleigh's game. Absolutely. Maybe admitting too much information. But there's also certain moments that there really weren't. It was taken too much in. With Christmas getting so upset about the job that she had to do. She was targeting 2 people that really did not have her on their radar at all. She was in the best position in the house. I think she may have swamped her game in this week.
I agree. She should have, because Enzo, I thought, handled the HOH the best so far. Just like, that's my target. That's who I'm going after. If you don't like it.
Right.
Oh, well.
It'll be interesting to see in the next couple of weeks. It'll be fun to see if something comes swinging back around to Christmas, if she tries to hand it off to somebody else or the blame or put it on somebody else, because how many times did we hear in the last 2 episodes of, this is my HOH, so I'm going to do what I want to do.
Going back to Bayleigh telling her about her relationship with Day, I thought that happened really early in the game, and that she was approaching Christmas with, hey, why don't we ally? I can pull Day in because she's with me. Who do you got? So if that's how that information came out, then yes, then that is, I mean, yeah, she was trusting her. So why was Christmas as surprised that she get that, you know?
No, I agree. Chris, like I said, if you, any kind of game like that, you just have to own it.
Yep.
And say, yeah, or you just say, look, information had been coming to me that you guys were after me.
Well, she did own it.
All you have to do is lie.
She did kind of own it in her goodbye to her. She said, listen, we had that conversation, but I already had my alliance on day one.
Yeah.
Because that's the honest truth right there.
Right.
It wasn't that she wanted them out. It's that they weren't in her alliance. And even though they thought they were forging some sort of empath with her to do something, she was never going to go with them. And that's been every single person who's been voted out has come to the realization of, oh my gosh, I was barking up the wrong tree. They were never going to go with me.
But when Kesar last week was talking to Bayleigh, and Bayleigh basically was like, whatever, I don't want to talk to you. He was telling her this.
Yeah.
But she didn't listen.
Yeah.
So again,
she kind of has her own way that she's viewing things. Like for a while, she's been convinced that Ian is Christmas's untouchable because she gave him that power. And she was kind of borderline obsessed with that for a while when she was like, well, should I say who your untouchable is? And Chris was like, no.
Maybe Davonne is Nicole's untouchable. She gave her $5,000.
Right. Exactly. But listen, can we just say though that honestly, half of this would not have been a situation except for Davonne with good intentions.
Trying to just
kind of messed Bayleigh's game up. You know, because when she was saying all like she wants Tyler's head on a silver platter, that didn't help. It didn't help.
No,
her.
it didn't. No, it didn't. I think she was. I mean, Davonne, they're together, but when they're both there and they're not saving each other, you're gonna start. I don't think she has. Yeah, and I don't blame her. She's there to play. You know.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
And I'll be honest, I want to see Davonne get to final two. If anything, because I think whoever she's sitting against, when it comes to, you know, your final speech and plea, I don't think anyone could stand up against her. I think
good. She's good. She's good TV. Her confessionals are always entertaining.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, going back to Nicole giving the 5,000, I like how Davonne came back and said, "Yeah, I'm glad she did it, but if it roles were reversed, no, no way." And I agree. I thought it was a stupid move. It was an obvious ploy to I don't want any blood on my hands, because even Bayleigh took the veto power away from Nicole. From Davonne.
Yeah,
she had no. I mean, there's no time to think.
Had they already decided at that point that it was going to be Bayleigh that went if they were both on the block and didn't win POV?
I think it was basically decided the second Christmas put them up.
That it was going to be Bayleigh. Well, so that was Nicole.
Bayleigh was the target.
Davonne's going to stay, so I'll give her this $5,000, and she'll be still willing to work with us, and there'll be no hard feelings, and we'll be her group.
Yeah. If I'm Davonne, I say thanks for the 5,000. I'm going after you. In fact, if I was in the house and saw that move, it's like Survivor when they give up their reward.
I honestly cannot see how they do it, because I kept thinking all week. So one of them wins and they come off. Who would they put? They just put up one of the other people. The people that should have been. I mean, the Kevin or Ian, like those guys need to be together for weeks now, and they didn't do it. And it's just they're just going to get picked. They really don't really have a chance. I don't think. Oh, and
Kevin,
David,
I think that Kevin. Okay, David's power that he has might place him in danger. It might help him, but it could also place him in danger, because right now I think David could float his way right to the end, as long as he just stays alone.
Should we talk about the powers?
Oh, another thing. One question.
The powers, the great powers.
I don't think I've ever seen a POV where someone couldn't compete. So he gets picked, then Ian can't compete. Why didn't they pick somebody else? That seems that was unfair, right?
Yeah, but
I thought the same thing.
That's the thing with production really likes to play its own
No,
game.
I thought that was baloney. Like, if Ian can't play, he should have been able to pick someone to play in his stead.
Like, do you ever wonder if they put the contestants' names they want to play in that bag? Like, they're not putting everybody's name in there. They're just putting up the people they want to.
I've said that about all reality shows.
But when you reached in, didn't you feel there weren't enough there? You
could, but you're not going to say anything. You signed a contract.
Oh, well. You don't think somebody at some point would have spilled that in 22 seasons?
Do you remember the year that I think it was 15, the year that Helen was on and she got pushed off of the wall, the same wall competition that they're doing right now? Do you remember that? Do you remember seeing the hand push her off?
Oh, yes.
They all denied that happened. They signed a contract.
Oh, there was screenshots of it and everything.
I know, exactly. That's what I mean. They're like, we want these people to compete today, so that's whose chips going in the bag.
Yeah.
Or maybe they have round ones that are like sewn into the thing and they can't pull them up. So they're grabbing. There's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go to the next one.
It was like last week. I missed the show, but I would have told you guys. I was convinced that the Wall Yeller was production. Motivated by production, because they could keep people away.
I think that it was motivated by evil Dick Donato.
Well, that would be good. But
because he had posted that exact statement on Twitter, and then a female Twitter follower wrote, "I'm gonna go get a megaphone and I'm gonna do it." And then he shared that laughing, and it was like. And it was right behind it that it happened.
I still think it was production. They saw it and they were like, we can blame them. Let's do it. Because production has been getting flack all season. The show's gotten flack all season for being boring.
They would just tell them in the DR. They would just be like, hey, now, what do you think's going on with Nicole and Cody?
Why are you asking me that?
Right. They push that a lot. Like, they won't. From what I have heard, they will not literally say this is going on, but they will really insinuate that maybe there's something happening in this corner. What do you think of these two? So just to kind of get the ideas flowing. They won't directly say what's going on, but they will lead them with questions.
Yeah. I think it's production. That's what I'm skeptical.
Except these reality shows, I wouldn't put it past. I mean,
right? Especially when there's Survivor. Like Survivor would be a little harder because they have filmed it all. I mean, they could re-edit stuff, but they can't really change the game after the fact when they see how people are watching. This, they're seeing every week what people are thinking about it, what people are saying about it.
Yeah.
Are people tuning in? Are people not? Are people coming to the live feeds? Or are they not?
I know, because I joined a Big Brother Facebook page, and they have all this stuff on there. Well, I just was because there was the video of the fight or the argument. I saw that 2 days ago or whatever, because somebody posts all that stuff. They post the live feed stuff on there, so you're just watching that, and most of the comments are like, "This season sucks."
Oh yeah, it's got the lowest ratings that it's had. It's not a.
And it's their all-star season. Like, they probably thought, this is gonna.
I hate that it's all stars. It's just like all who could come during a pandemic.
maybe that was a mistake. They should just call it returning players or something.
I agree.
Because like I said, I haven't watched.
Rewind or something.
There's a lot of these players. I'm like going, this is the best they have.
No, it's not the best. It's not.
That's what I've been saying from starting watching. I go,
not even.
Truth be told,
I hate to be bagging on David, but
yeah, truth be told, half of the best players probably wouldn't play it again. I mean, not because any direct hate, but it's like they're like, no, I came and I whooped everyone's butt and I'm done. I got my own life to live. I've got $500,000 and I got a decent job.
It's a different kind of person that plays Big Brother versus what plays Survivor, I think.
But didn't they guarantee him like 40 or 50,000?
Yeah, they got 40 to walk in the door, but that's part of the problem too, is because they're not having to bank on getting to jury to make more money. You know, they've made their money. So at the very least, like, well, we could win all this money, but we're not out anything this summer.
Should they have, because like this year's last season's Survivor, it was $2 million. Should they have upped it to 1 million. I mean, again, the ratings are down. What else is on TV?
I think they should have absolutely upped
Exactly.
the million if they would have pulled a few more heavy hitter gamers in. Like, I think that if, for instance, if Dan came back in, another player that was really willing to work the game,
because it's only 500,000, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
So
half.
that's the plot. But they do also get a per diem, right?
Yes.
On top of that, okay. So yeah, if they had
after taxes, you're probably only getting like 275,000. I mean, I know people are going only still.
Right.
Well, they'll just be sitting at home probably doing nothing, because of COVID, so they're not really missing out. But if they had upped it to 1 million, which come on, they could have. They're not doing production on anything else right now, so if they had done that, that might have gotten some players to go, maybe we'll go play again.
Yeah, they should have. They should have maybe tried that. I don't know. I don't know what their budget is, but surely they could have pushed for it what else are they going to fill their time with?
Would it have been better? Would it have been better with COVID and everything to go with since you couldn't get the best of the best to just go with new players?
Well, they said the problem was going to be all the interviewing and the
all the pre-show stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all the pre-show stuff. Well, and an interesting aspect to a lot of this too is that some of these players, they were all right players when they played. There's nothing really wrong with how they played and so on. But now we've got young moms. That makes a big difference on how somebody's going to be in that house. I mean, we're not talking about teenage kids. Christmas is going to be in the house for her son's first birthday.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty big deal. So no matter how your game is going, right, your personal drama is always going to come into the game. That's what happened with Bayleigh last year. She had some pretty serious stuff happening while she was in the house, and as a casual viewer, you didn't really hear any of that until long after the show was done. But I mean, she had some serious things that were going on. And so she just came off looking like a hot-headed crazy person. But in reality, she was going through something incredibly traumatic that nobody gets through calmly in regular life, more or less with cameras and tension being shoved into your living space.
Plus, it's 100 days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Locked in a room with people for 100 days. If you don't like somebody, and you always have to be on... Because
even if you loved everybody,
well, they all love each other because I said, I love you, I love each and every one of you, I love you, I love you. You guys are the greatest. I love you, I love you.
Well, because now they all know they will see each other again. It's not like,
But it just I get that being 100 days. Survivor's rough because of the lack of food and everything and the lack of sleep. But it is only 40 days.
Right.
And you can go for a walk. You can walk away and go for a walk. You go out in the water. You get some quiet time to yourself.
It's a mistake if you do it because you're looking.
Well, if you did it, people are seeing you. You just go out in the water. I just need some quiet.
I'm not looking for an idol.
Unless it's in the bottom of the water.
You don't have to go to the kitchen and worry about everybody following you.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But 100 days not seeing especially when you have young kids because they change.
That would be so hard.
I remember being gone for a week and come back and go, oh.
Yeah.
I can't believe Cody didn't leave.
I can. Okay. I mean, I'm not putting this situation down. I mean, that would be really difficult. It would. But the Derek year, 2 years ago, was it? No, it was Derek's year. Frankie's grandpa passed away. Then in the same week, Derek's grandpa passed away. And then a few days after that, Matt's father, so his father-in-law or whatever. I mean, there was boom, boom, boom. All three of these guys were just dragging down forever. I mean, and it happens.
Unless they had already spoken, because obviously he was very ill.
Yes.
Unless they had said, "Hey, no matter what, we're not going to do a service."
I don't think it was like a shock.
No.
It wasn't like a
but
car
I wouldn't want to miss the service. If they're having that while he's in the house,
they may not even be having much of a service.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. And maybe they'd already arranged like, hey, we're going to do it at a later date or.
Right. Yeah.
If I was the
not the first time.
I would tell him, don't come out of that house.
I know, but that's okay. Yes. As a parent, you can tell them that, or as a senior member of the family, you can tell them that. But when you're the kid and that's your grandpa and if let's say they're going forward with a funeral or whatever, and then you got the cousins are all there and all the aunts and uncles, but you're not there, but you feel like you're not there with your family in this time. I don't know. I think that's
Brett Favre played the day his dad died. Just saying.
Because he's a robot.
Well, I was going to say, ever since you guys started calling Julie a robot, I can't help but watch. We'd like to send our condolences to Cody's family.
Okay, so you see it now, right?
I do see it. She has no heart whatsoever.
There's no warmth.
Comparing Day and Bay to Thelma and Louise. Like, have you seen the ending of that movie? Yeah. I mean, what are you actually saying? Are you threatening them right now?
And when she tries to be warm, it comes off even weirder, right? Yep. Like when
it's a tough situation.
You stick around. We're going to talk after this, and you're like, you're weird.
Yeah. So I did notice that. I said, wow, she is really stiff.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, and they're big. We're going to reveal a surprise to the house.
But first,
7,000
none of the 5 people who've been voted out are coming back. Like, really? Was that a big giant surprise? I don't know. It was weird.
Well, we do that.
Some of them were convinced that they were going to come back. Some were.
I'm sure.
I thought we talked about a couple weeks ago with COVID. There was
we knew they weren't because of how she was interviewing them afterwards.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, the way like first to commercial, and then we're going to tell them a big secret.
Yeah, their breakaways are not very good.
It's her, man. I'm telling you. The guy who's the announcer. We have more energy.
Big brother.
Yeah, I'm with you.
How did Tom Bergeron lose his job on Dancing with the Stars, but Julie keeps her job? How is that even possible?
I don't know.
Married to the staff.
It's true. Yes.
Did you watch the season when they had the celebrities, and Ross and Marissa made it to the end? Did you watch?
I watched like the first episode, and I went, nah, I can't do it.
So after that season, when they had the regular season, Ross and Marissa did a CBS thing after the fact, like interview thing with whoever was voted out the day before, and they put it on. And they were so good. They had the person come in that was voted out. They'd sit down, they'd interview them. They were like, oh yeah. And then, when this happened, they were like fans interviewing them, right? So they knew everything that was going on. And they were so like, yeah. Oh, and then as the house guests would say something because they're going to jury, they said something, but that we as viewers knew that they didn't know the thing that they knew. There'd be like a bubble that would go up across the bottom of the screen that would say something like, "We're definitely talking about this when they leave." Like, and then they leave, and then they go, "Oh my God, did you say? Oh, they didn't know." And oh my gosh, can you believe they were? They need to bring them to do the Julie Chen thing. They were so good.
They had Jeff for a long time doing like the after interviews and the pre-interviews, the backyard interviews and stuff.
Yeah, I think he wasn't as good either. I mean, he was fine. He was Jack, but
Survivor.
But that's going to be Christmas's new job.
Well, she's good at rhyming. Well, I've been saying that about Jeff Probst forever. That Rosie O'Donnell was great at it because she was a fan and she was like into it. And Jeff's a lot like Julie. He just doesn't have that.
Jeff's not a fan. That's his life.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how does he stay fresh at it? Let somebody else do the reunion thing.
Well, the reunion things become 5 minutes. So I think they realize that Jeff's killing it.
They've built it. Could be so much better.
I mean, Julie really doesn't have that much to do.
No, not really. She does have that trip cord that she got to push all the time. I like Crispin goes, "We can't hear you."
You don't want to listen to me anyway.
It was a great episode. It really was. I mean, the eviction went the way pretty much thought that the eviction was going to go. But as far as Big Brother goes, this is sort of what's been missing during the week. I mean, this is kind of not necessarily that the feed watchers have to have fighting drama, but there was actually something going on. So it gave us something at least.
Oh, Rachel, yes. That was so awkward.
Rachel said she gives the weirdest comparisons, like when she described Danny, I think as Busy Phillips.
Busy Phillips, yeah.
Yeah, and she did do that. It was busy.
So odd.
Danny's like going, thank you.
I guess. Okay.
Thank you. I hate Busy Phillips. Anyway, yeah. That wasn't me. That was Danny.
It's just weird. No, this week, even though it's not fun seeing that group continue to maneuver things there's not going to be any more obstacles in their way. Do you know what I mean? That's boring to see that all coming together.
Christmas has made it.
Unless someone breaks.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and we have the powers.
True.
We have the powers that could. Okay, Danny's power probably isn't going to shift anything. That's like the lamest power because you kind of have to have someone you want in position or be in position with HOH to be able to use it to battle the next time. And that's not a guarantee. That's just giving you a slim chance.
The only thing is like if she won HOH and then used it for herself the next week so she could compete again.
Right. But then, but it's right.
But she would be able, she couldn't.
There's two what ifs. You know, there's two big what ifs in order for that to really work for her, and she's only got 3 weeks to do it.
And production would make it 2 math tests.
Two what?
Two math competitions.
Not her forte.
She said, "I'm terrible at math."
Yeah, I would be doomed.
I don't
if
like
that
that
would have been mine
at all. I don't like that.
The last one was so easy. I'm like going, okay, there's 13. There's 13. Now Nicole was obviously throwing it.
Well, no, the thing is like. That you can't lift off before, right? So that's the hardest part.
Yep. Well, and the person next to you just has to psych you out, And that would be my job because I'd be like, there's no way that this math thing is going to go well for me. So I would just spend my time like fake jumping to psych out the people next to me. It's the only way I'd be able to stand a chance.
Can't take your hand off the buzzer.
Nope.
So I don't like that one.
Keep it all together.
Can we talk about
BS that they didn't re-roll for Ian or have someone going for Ian?
Yeah, I agree. And why do they still call it Nicole F?
Yeah, you think they should like
just call her Nicole.
I'd call her Nicole F.
I don't get it though. There's only one Nicole left. Am I right?
True.
Yeah. Last I checked, there were no more Nicoles.
Nicole F.
And she did get another unitard, so she's happy about that.
Yes, that's her.
Well,
that's her gig.
to be fair, she lost her pants. Right?
Yeah,
that was so funny.
She did.
That was so amazing.
That was so funny. I don't have any
pants.
I'm happy in my underwear.
I have to say, for a version of a competition we've seen for years now, because they put this one in almost every year. This was definitely one of the most entertaining.
Yeah, because usually they don't have them all in there at the same time. Aren't they usually timed? And they go in at a time. But have them all in there was great because they don't know who they're touching, and nobody wants anyone to know who's there because they don't want them to know who's over by the podium trying to put something in.
I was going to say though, is that a sexual harassment case waiting to happen? Because
who fell on Nicole? She was in the thing, and then someone fell and pushed her down in it more or something.
I think it wasn't Cody. It was
one of the guys. I'd be like, "Stop! I'm trying to get out. No!" And she was like,
Tyler.
"Yeah." And it's got to be like honey or something. It's really sticky and thick, and you can't get out of it.
Syrup, yeah.
Yeah, because they still had they still had the Pels band. The peanuts were still.
Oh, that's the worst.
They still stuck them afterwards. I'm like going, yeah, it's got to be a terrible competition.
Yeah.
But David, was it David, Danny, and I wrote it down. David, Danny, and who won it? Who was the third person?
Christmas. Didn't
Christmas,
she?
that's right. Yes, Christmas won it.
Yay.
She had it stuffed in her shirt.
Yeah. And who was it that was standing there just making so no one could put anything in there? Like, I'm going to just block this. Yes, but you're not looking. So you're working.
I think it was Bayleigh.
Because the thing would be like, okay, well, that's great if you know that you have a partner who's looking and you're keeping this so they can hang in there. But
I think what she was saying was that they'll think it's wrong and drop it. And then she'll be able to put it in there. I think that's what her strategy. And because they were just dropping them if they didn't fit.
No one was talking. I mean, you just go up there just to hip check somebody out of the way, wouldn't you?
Well, that's what Christmas did.
They don't know who you are and you don't know who they are. Who cares?
That's what Christmas did.
Ian was getting his butt beat by that one podium when they were all at the end trying to put it in. I'm like, throw an elbow, little dude.
I wonder if that's what sparked his anxiety.
Oh,
maybe. And the fact that they can't go outside because they have to keep locking everybody inside because there's a wall yeller. That wall yeller isn't the only one. There's been 2 other attempts at it in the last 2 weeks. So
I don't know why they didn't have fire hoses out. Just have giant hoses out there. When someone comes, just start shooting the hoses. And we talked last week is play loud music.
Nobody would get the dude a towel.
I know
that's the height of anxiety. I mean, there's people yelling right in front of you. You're naked, and you're going, "I just need a towel."
Why didn't you bring a towel in the first place?
Why wouldn't you hang one on the door? Because you're taking a shower.
That all makes sense now.
As a mom, you tell your kids this.
And how often
get all your stuff ready.
How often do your kids listen?
Yeah, I was gonna say, and that's 100% accurate.
I don't come and give them a towel. Oh, you need a towel? I guess you're getting out and being cold and getting one yourself.
I laugh at my kids telling their kids what I used to tell them. I go, good luck with that.
Logical consequences. It's just what life's about.
I did want to go to where we were talking about how they might have been filming or they edited out of order. When Davonne came out, it was all emotional when they're out playing pool. I don't think Cody had found out his grandfather had died yet.
No, that's what I mean. They had too much story to just tell all at once, so they had to kind of pick an order and go with it.
Because to me, I understand Davonne being upset, but I'm not going to go out there and throw a fit in front of somebody that just lost a loved one.
Well, and a lot of the feed watchers were getting really upset too because whoever was running the feeds that night was not staying off of Cody after it had happened. You know,
they were
like, they're like, just like
see him cry or something.
Right, let him go do his thing. There's all this other stuff going on in the house.
Who wants to watch that?
Yeah, you cut us out of the HOH conversation with Tyler and Christmas, but you're gonna force this down our throats. So yeah,
somehow they thought like Cody's family would want to see him, or I don't know.
I mean, and that's just awful. Could you imagine? Like, I mean, if you were Cody's dad and the pain you were already experiencing, and then you see your son there and you can't, that was mean. I didn't like, that was not great.
Julie was probably in charge of that.
Probably with her little tether.
Julie had the video cameras that night. She was on duty.
Make sure we stay on Cody.
Yeah.
Well, and there's been a lot of, so we had all this stuff going on with Bayleigh and Christmas and Davonne, and obviously this went well into the wee hours of the morning. Christmas wouldn't let it go, and I think that's where a lot of CBS tried to edit as kindly as everything could go, but Christmas really wouldn't let it go. And when she was talking to Kevin, and Kevin, was kind of keeping her calm, and he made the best point. He's like, I just see 3 women who are all stressed out and have hurt feelings.
But for Christmas to have hurt feelings because she did something to hurt someone else, no, come on.
She had, exactly.
Why don't you go to the HOH room?
I'm sorry, I was watching and it came off a little bit privileged, didn't it?
Yes. And so Kevin was trying to kind of get her to calm down and she'd be like, you're right. I got to calm down.
HOH, why are you?
And then half a second later, she'd be all like, she walked over to me. She'd go off all over again. And I'm like, you literally are a felon. You have a felony charge of assault. This is
She's a
not
fighter.
going to look good for you. It's just not going to look good for you. So, and she went off for the whole day about this is going to ruin my career and Like she there was a lot of, this is about me. This is going to be a problem for me.
Me.
Yeah. And unfortunately, like that.
Well, do you think maybe, like you said, her son's birthday's coming up, and when you're not around a young kid, a baby,
sure, right.
It is rough.
Yeah,
so
she's like,
like I said, what I would have done, she should have just, like, she was focusing too much on, I feel bad. She felt, like, oh, when she said playing the victim, but I do understand when you're trying to say something in an argument and someone interrupts you, because Bayleigh kept interrupting her. I'd be like,
because she was just making excuses. Like, we don't have to be happy with you for sending them home.
When I'm in an argument and someone doesn't let me speak, I'm either gonna blow up on you or walk away.
And it's hard because Bayleigh gets a little bit, bit hot when she's.
I thought she stayed super calm, actually.
She did, and this is the part that broke my heart watching the whole thing, because I mean they clipped it a little bit, but it was like I like for real cried, because I could only imagine the frustration, because they're like, if I, covered in tattoos, walked near anybody and started shoving my fingers in their face when we were arguing, or if I was up on that banister clapping down at them, like I'd be thrown through the ringer. And it's just like the fact that she gets to do that, and it's game. But if I did it, I'm taking it personally.
Right.
She was so frustrated, because she's like, I'm trying so hard to not come off the way I did last year.
Right. She doesn't want the title of angry black woman.
Right. And Davonne's she's the same thing. She's just like, I am so tired of being looked at that way, because that's not what this is. It's just what sells on TV.
Right.
So,
well, they did edit some, because the part I saw when Bayleigh goes over to, Christmas gets up to walk away, and Bayleigh follows her. She says, well, you called me a B. And she goes, that's what really got her going, because she didn't. And so then they're going at you. And then, like I said, the whole thing, I'm like, okay, this is something that was so simple. Simple. And it's got I go, why is this even a fight?
Right. If I'm so non-confrontational. Like, I think if I had been in that situation, I just would have, of all the people, Christmas had the out. She can just go upstairs and go in her room and be by herself. She doesn't have to sit there with the two people that are angry with her because one of them's going home.
Right.
She seemed to me like she
why
wasn't
would you sit there while they're going to be upset? Just go upstairs.
She wasn't owning up to what she did.
Yeah, like it was like,
I said, Enzo's becoming one of my favorite players, because he just simply said, look,
right,
like I said earlier, that's who I wanted to target. That's what I was putting up. I did what I wanted to do. Yep. He didn't apologize for it. Again, I would just said, look,
this is what you got to do. You were in my way.
People were coming up to me and saying, you were coming after me. That's all she had to say. And they say, who? I go, look, I'm not going to say who it was.
Right.
And you cannot sit there and talk all about, like, I'm going to make a big move because no one's making moves. I'm going to make a move. I'm going to make a move. And now they're you're mad at me? What? You know what I mean? That's how it came across. It's like, no.
Well, I think Davonne said, he goes, well, you put us. She goes, you put me up there. I didn't do anything.
Are we supposed to say thank you? Like, that's how she made it sound like they were supposed to be like totally okay with it.
Right.
Yeah. It was like, again, it's just something that could, if I was in the game and I put two people up and I'd be like, look, that's just.
And that is why
I said, you fight for the veto. You fight for the veto, and then give me a reason why I should not vote for you, or I can't vote, but why the other people shouldn't vote for you.
The first mistake she made, which is, first of all, I don't know, from a game point of view, on one half I can see why she targeted them. On the other half, I'm like, that's stupid. Why did you target them? But I have a perspective of the game that she doesn't have right now. No. So, okay, fine. That's fine. But then when you put somebody up on the block, there is nothing I hate more than this isn't personal. This is game. I just haven't got a chance to talk to you. Or
you haven't touched strategy with me yet. So.
Right. Or I'm going to put you on the block, and then I'm going to go cry about it. But I'm going to make sure that everybody sees me crying on the way up. This is so hard. This is the worst ever. And also when this all falls on an HOH that she won by default. She didn't do
Yes.
it.
Davonne was absolutely right there. She's like, you didn't beat me. I lost.
That was great.
You
That was
didn't win.
yeah, that made me so pumped.
But it happens in every sport all the time. Who has the ring?
Yeah.
Who gets the trophy? I mean, oh well. Should have played better.
Now, we've got a lot of hot talk on Twitter because of the way that whole situation went down and how upset Christmas is going to be. And her app right now has no good reviews. It's looking really bad. And I don't like that part of the game. I don't like that fans are like, I'm going to go destroy their real life. I mean, that's why. Season 15, totally understand it. Those people were horrible.
Well,
they were cruel, horrible people. But I mean,
a couple people saying racist things, and then
right.
We found out, they apologized. They said the right things afterwards, but then we find out later that they probably were because there's that whole.
There's a long history.
Yeah, so it's like you can't hide yourself.
Right.
If you're an a-hole, you're an a-hole.
If you say things all the time and then people hear you one time, you can't say they're misconstruing what you said if that's something you always say.
Exactly. So yes, those folks, whatever, logical consequences. But I don't like this, some of the fans are just we can sit here and we can goof and
nothing else to do?
None of us are going to call and put death threats on their family members for crying out.
No. Well, now you're making me feel bad that I said Christmas is canceled. I just thought that was funny. Sorry.
No, I love it.
Do not go after Christmas.
Well, Davonne said that, right?
I wrote it right here.
Yeah, she did. That's why. If I wasn't that, it was either going to be that or can I just get a towel? Or there was a third one too that I was like, that's a good one also.
Yeah, I agree. It's not like she killed anybody. I mean, she tried to run over once, but no, it's just
she's gonna have to learn how to be a little bit more aware of what her intentions might be and how they look, maybe. But here's the thing. So she's got some hot water. Sure, I'm sure it'll be fine. But now Memphis, and that's something they've completely ignored in this episode or this week.
They only have 3 hours a week.
Memphis has been, I can't even say that he's been like dogging Ian because it's not like, hey, buddy, I'm going to make fun of you. Like he has said some downright like horrible things about Ian and has just any chance he gets, he's pushing, and he's not pushing in because he's a threat to my game. He's like, the kid creeps me out. He's creeping me out. He's
just being a bully.
Yes. No, and sadly, he's creating an audience of it and he's making fun of him and he's like mimicking his like rocking motion. Well, the reason why we see him rocking so much is because the kid can't, because he has to constantly be moving. Yeah. So he's always like in the pool or he's in the hammock, and he's not allowed to get to those things that keep him calm, to self-soothe him. And they're just
get him a fidget spinner, dang.
Yeah, he's just ripping them apart. And Nicole and Danny are, there's a lot of times where they're just giggling about it and they, think it's super funny. And it's like encouraging this behavior. Enzo talks about getting Ian out all the time, but it's always, I like the guy, but he's got to go because, in the last eight,
his game.
He's going to win every competition. He's going to go on a streak. We got to get him out.
I can't beat him. It's respect.
I wish he'd go on a streak.
Yes. Yeah, and he has been talking to Nicole and said, I have got to win something because I'm hearing some chatter. I think people believe I'm throwing it and I'm not. I've got to win something. And then he said that when he was, I don't remember who he was talking to about it, but he came out of the DR room and they said, what were you doing in there? And he's like, I asked them if I do win HOH this week, if I can forego getting my basket and my letter so Cody can get a letter from home. And then they said they'd review it and get back to us. He's a good guy. It's just so frustrating to hear people say such things.
I didn't see Memphis play the first time, but it's what we were saying earlier about people who are, racist or just bad people. You could tell he's a bully.
Yeah.
He's an arrogant person.
It's people who have no self-awareness. He's not aware of what he's doing.
I don't think he
thinks
cares.
he's being funny and the cool guy.
Right.
It's not.
Well, because that's way life was 20 years ago.
Right.
And he's like
Bayleigh and Garcia, Grandpa.
He's like Al Bundy, you know, who I scored all those touchdowns in high school. You know, he's selling shoes. Nothing gets people selling shoes. I'm just saying.
You know what though? He's close to the same age as me, and I mean, nah, he's just not. I don't care how.
I'm saying from a guy. That's just how guys used to act.
Right.
It was acceptable that you target the person.
It's the denim vest. I'm telling you, you cannot wear a denim vest and not be a villain.
I'm not defending him. I'm just saying that he just never.
It does make you come off a little douchey, doesn't it?
Where times have changed, obviously, we're supposed to be more aware of other people's feelings, which is about time. I mean, we're still way behind, but he's doing it live.
This is why, listen, I could not be on the show, but also I would love moments to be on the show. Just like I would march out, I would disassemble that hammock, I would drag it in the house, I would reassemble that hammock in the kitchen or whatever room Memphis was sleeping in. And I would just plop Ian up there and I'd be like, go to town, man, and make eye contact the entire time. Like I'm done.
But yeah, again, and they don't show that though. They don't show. We haven't seen that.
And it depends. It depends on what Memphis does. I mean, they might change his story up and make him the villain and then show that. I don't know how they're going to do it. Ooh.
Yeah, I know. Buffy asked, who do you want to see win this HOH? There are 3 people left on the wall right now. But we don't want to say who's on the wall right now because that's a spoiler.
We don't?
No.
Oh, the other thing about Christmas. When you guys were saying that when you were Jamie,
why do we hate Christmas all of a sudden? I love Christmas.
No, when she was talking about you, it said something about self-aware,
the holiday.
Right? And how Christmas lasts, self-awareness. Christmas is in an alliance. She feels confident in her alliance. She thinks she's pulling strings in that alliance. And she's not. She's just the loyal soldier.
Yeah,
she's a loyal soldier. She's doing whatever they want her to do.
Yep.
You see that in a lot of reality shows. You always have that one person. Yeah, I'm pulling the strings. I'm in charge, and no one makes a decision without me.
And I guarantee you, even though she got all uppity and there was big blowouts, and that didn't have to happen at all, because you know what? If Danny wants to call someone classless, that might have been a little classless, right? So, but yeah, like I guarantee you, the weeks and weeks. If Christmas comes to the end, she'll talk about my week. I was HOH, and I broke at Davonne and Bayleigh. It'll be like, but any of your team any of your alliance would have done the same thing.
And it's the same thing that happened with her in her first season. Is she couldn't really compete in the comps because of her bum foot, but she was used as an integral part of the entire game. It was, let's tell Christmas this. Let's get her to believe what we just told her. And then let's get her to believe what we want her to do is her idea. And that's how Tyler ran her the whole, and it's exactly what's happening now.
Now, Cliff said he never went back and watched his season. And other people from Big Brother have said that because it brings back like PTSD for them. So if Christmas never went back and watched her season, does she not know that? Or if she did watch it, does she now have a chip on her shoulder thinking she has something to prove? I'm not going to be used this season. Or, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I could imagine that it is for a very large portion of the players. I mean, Janelle and Kesar talked about it a little bit actually in reference to Nicole Anthony. It's saying, she's in this is her back to back. She was just here and now she's here and she hasn't had the time to like get a grip on reality again first.
Right.
And Janelle's like, we've been in here multiple times and I was fine. And Kesar's like, I'm not.
That's why you didn't
I wasn't okay when I came back in. This really messes with people. And some big winners have said the same thing too. They said, it takes a good 3 or 4 months of counseling to, you can't trust the people that you live with are not lying to you.
Right. They say something to you and you're trying to figure out what's their motivation. Why are they telling you that? And they're just asking you what you want for supper.
Wasn't it Cliff that told us that CBS has these players have access to psychologists from CBS? Did Cliff tell us that, or did I hear that from another show?
That must have been some different show, because he said it took him a while. I don't think he said that they had offered psychology.
And there's some show that they were talking about. I was watching
therapy,
and the contestant said, "Yeah, we have access because it's so hard to come back." It might have been Survivor, but it's so hard to come back into the real world.
And it makes, God, that'd be hard. I mean, it really would be. I think that coming back out of that would probably be in some ways harder than when you are in it, because you have long-term consequences for your actions outside of the house. And you can't say, oh, it's just a game. So,
plus, do you want to watch it when someone goes, "Oh, you're so stupid" behind your back? Like
no.
On Christmas Day, she's so stupid. It's right. Like you see that and you're watching, go, huh? I don't know how you can't take that personal, because or you have like I guess Ian that wouldn't know that Memphis is making fun of him, but because it's not being shown on the show. But he will.
He'll know because the internet's talking about it.
Right. It's true. Yeah. So how do you stay friends with people like that? Like I've always thought about Survivor is when they're doing the confessionals. He's a complete moron, and I'm like going, you
don't stay friends with those people, and that's why the new school teams of Big Brother have so much drama outside of the house, because they spend the whole time in the house. I love everybody until I get into the DR, and then I'm going blah, 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 about them.
Well, it's like when Christmas wanted a hug from Bayleigh after the veto. Nope. I'm like, why would you even ask for a hug?
Right.
Because God forbid they feel like they're mad at them. If you don't hug me, then I'll feel like you're mad at me.
It's a game. It's a game, and I'm here to win.
Right.
Obviously, I don't want to piss people off, because I'll need them in the jury. But at some point, you have to just say it's a game. And if you want to say, okay, this is a game, like she was trying to say, she was saying, well, that's game talk. It's game talk. Then just, again, own it. Say, okay, yeah, it's game talk. That's the way I played. I'm sorry you feel that way.
This is the same girl that did not get called out by a single house guest in a competition that's directly made to call out alliances in front of everybody else. She was the last person to go up. She didn't even have to answer the question, and won HOH and went around for an entire 24 hours without congratulating Davonne on kicking butt through that competition.
Oh, yeah.
I did this. Oh, my God, I can't believe I did this. Not self-aware.
And I have to say, I have to give also props, because she had those really high heel shoes on, and she was walking across the grass and up the stairs every time, and then clumping back down and going and sitting down, clumping back up. And I was like, man, you go, girl, because I'd be so nervous I would have just fell on my back.
I'm so glad that players have finally realized how to use that competition to its fullest effect, because the first two, maybe three times they used it, people are like, oh, I'm just going to call this person and this person. They're both in your alliance. What are you doing?
Yeah, it's very certain. Yeah. And this was the perfect week for that to happen. And I think that might have been some of the catalyst for some of the drama this week with feelings, because Davonne was called out first by Cody, right? And it's
supposed to be in the Slick Six.
Wait a minute. Excuse me. And the cards were shown so quick. And she was reacting to that.
But
and that was on her face, too.
Kesar was telling that a week before.
Yeah. But we were going, la, 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 la. It's not true.
But I did want to talk about when the star Cody, Nicole, and Danny were all upset with Kesar, going on and on and on about it. I go, come on. Get over it.
It was so bitter Betty, wasn't it? It was like, really?
They were just riding in such a pretty carriage, and, he threw a wrench in.
He said, we were in an alliance together, but you are.
Oh, my God. But what in the world?
We are not in a triangle.
these same look, Bayleigh gets out there, and just like Kesar before her, Julie's like, "This is the alliance," boom, 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 and the response is like, "Oh man, I didn't know." I'm not in there, but how do you not see that? Maybe one or two you might not know for sure, but how do you not see that?
I thought it was really almost hurtful for Davonne because they come out and she sits down and they show this 6 and you look at the 6 and there's not a single, they're like cookie cutters. It's 3 blonde girls and 3 buff guys, right?
Yep.
And for anybody who's, a minority in any way, and there were a lot of them this year. Right. This was probably, I think, one of their most diverse casts ever.
Absolutely.
None of them were ever approached. Oh man.
It doesn't have a good look. Just saying.
It doesn't.
But it is highly
it's
representational of so much that's happening too. So this is where, as much fun as we can make of Big Brother and all of its ridiculous production prods, there are a lot of things like Kesar when he was saying this can be used as a platform to show people what everything looks like outside of their own bubble. And this is how the country is viewed. What we're looking at is how the country is viewed.
There's this group that's all together.
Right.
And they run everything. And everybody else just has to be glad if they get a seat at the table sometime.
Well, I know there wasn't really an old person in this group.
No.
Memphis. No. He's a grandpa.
Is he old, though?
No.
Compared to some of them, I suppose they would think.
But that's the season. Last season was first season. I watched the first thing I said. I go, oh, so all the pretty people,
right,
are in the alliance.
But see, that's again, production is pulling people from agencies.
Yeah,
agencies are dropping their names.
Holly was a bartender last year, right? Didn't they approach her at work while she was serving? Didn't somebody approach her at a bar?
They get a lot of Las Vegas workers. It was Rachel. Rachel started that. Rachel started that whole thing.
They get those Vegas workers.
Not the girls with cards.
Okay. Well, they might have. We don't know.
Girls with trays, not with cards.
It's their own, whatever.
Right. But there really is a large circuit of these girls coming in not dancers, but dancers, legitimate dancers, and high dollar servers coming from clubs that have been in this show. I can name like 7 of them just off the bat.
That's why it was awesome last year when Jessica was on there, because she's a plus size model. She's like, yes, I'm a model. I'm a plus size model. Because you don't ever see plus size girls on there.
Right. Right. I wish she would have got to be more involved in the game. She was very fun. She would have brought a lot more.
Well, they didn't let her in
to it. That's just it.
So I'm just saying it, and I'm putting it out there. If you are a person who's not from the Cool Kids Club and you get on Big Brother, you find the other rejects and you guys form a reject.
Yeah.
It's the second season I've watched this. They don't do it.
I know.
Why not? Because are they still stuck in the mode that they want to be with the cool kids?
It's got to be it. And it's funny because
I would look at them and be like, yeah, no.
I'm sure in high school, we all wanted to be with the cool kids, and then you see after the down the road, those kids aren't so cool anymore.
Oh, they're not.
They're not.
Yeah, and it's like, man, you were in high school. You're an a-hole now.
I mean, the best alliance would have been Ian and Kevin and
Ask JP. Like the first thing I was like Ian and Nicole Anthony and Kevin. And I'm like forming this like perfect alliance.
The nerd alliance. Let's go.
None of them. And the whole time I'm like, no, why?
And Nicole should have known because Nicole wasn't in the alliance last time.
I know. Poor Nicole.
I mean, she made it to what? Final 3, right?
Yeah, she made 3. She had to get the cut from Cliff. He had to let her go.
And this season, I mean, prior to what people had worked out before they came into the house, that's a whole
other thing too.
They made that alliance on day 1.
Right.
So, and last year that alliance happened pretty quickly too, didn't it? Within the first couple of days.
The big alliance in the house always happens by day 4.
Yes. So if you're in the house and it's day 2 and no one's approached you for an alliance, you best get making one.
Yep.
You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
exactly. Yeah,
You better start working.
Like Kevin, who's in no alliance whatsoever because he was in the one alliance for 5 minutes with Nicole Anthony. Like he's in no alliance, and I don't know how nervous that makes him. Because this isn't okay in Survivor.
He was fine this week.
Right, he was totally safe. He was fine.
Yeah.
In Survivor, sometimes if you don't have a direct alliance, yeah, you need to be concerned, but it also gives you the option to be the swing vote.
Right.
Which can be really powerful or totally bite you in the butt. It's a big responsibility.
Yeah,
but
because
you have to know how to use it, and you have to be
right.
Okay, I'm the swing vote, but I'm gonna take out the top.
Exactly. In Big Brother, you don't get to be a swing vote. Not anymore. Maybe 15 years ago. You don't get to be a swing vote anymore because alliances don't change their minds. The people that are going on the block together are friends. You're not going, I'm going to pull someone from this alliance and then I'm going to pull someone from this alliance because these two people make me nervous. No, they go, I'm taking the couples out. I'm taking the couples out. No one's going to stab the other person on the block in the back emotionally to get somebody else's vote.
Would it be better if they did it more like Survivor, where it was an individual game from the start, that you had like different groups, and those groups work together until that way you're not having.
They did that 1 year.
Oh, did they do that one year?
They did it 1 year where they grouped them together and they had to compete for the HOH together. Do you remember that?
No.
No? Well, I know you don't remember.
They kind of did it. Well, and
it was like, it only lasted for like 2 weeks or something where they were like grouped. And it was like, if somebody in that group won HOH, then the whole group was safe.
Right. Was it the coaches season?
I think so. Yes. That makes sense. I think it was. Yeah.
It was Ian's season because they had.
I just remember the first HOH was like beds that were spinning in the backyard and they had to jump from bed and the beds were like, yeah.
Yeah. So we had Dan and Boogie and Janelle and who was Brittany as the coaches. And then they had their team. They got to pick a team. That's how Jody ended up out of the house within the first 4 hours, which, like, dear God, Big Brother, please bring Jody back into play. But they picked their teams. The coaches got to pick their teams.
Yeah, they did like a schoolyard pick.
Yep.
And they didn't know them or anything. They didn't know them. They were just by looks, looking at them.
Right.
I need somebody with muscles. I need someone with, somebody who looks like an
and putting together the perfect little team or alliance, and then they just coached them on what they needed to do or gave them advice on who they needed to be targeting. And then what was it like the 6 week in 7, I don't know, somewhere before they got to join the game.
I want to say, Buffy said earlier seasons were so different. People went into the house to win dollars and money. Now they're going to gain Instagram followers, and the dollars are just bonus, which is true. And I think Survivor suffered from that too. There was the middle of Survivor, they were just getting the pretty people. I mean, it was just like, it was like you could tell, and it was not all. I don't want to be anti-pretty because some of the pretty people have won.
No, but if that's the only reason you're picking them is because they'll look good in a swimsuit.
Yeah.
Yep.
They need to be a fuller package.
But they got they get the guys with the six pack abs and the girls and stuff like that who had never seen the game.
Right.
They just picked out this, and it was obvious they didn't know how to play the game.
Yep.
And for me, that was when I almost stopped watching Survivor. I go, okay, this is unwatchable.
They were players that were very one-dimensional. They didn't have the social game or the strategy. They just had the one thing, and that they were going to just rest on that. They weren't trying to work any other avenues, and that's boring.
Right. Yep. Yeah. And that's why you could see Janelle and Case are getting so frustrated because they're like, they know they've been fans of the game. They may not have watched every season since they've been in it, but man, they know what makes for a good game.
Yeah. I think Janelle's bad thing was she came in because she really, people call her the queen. Like she's Big Brother, like big time, right? Okay.
Is she the Big Brother queen?
Kind of. She's kind of one of the. I mean, not for winning, but just people usually like her and get really excited when they see her. And I think out in the world, it's the same thing. So she went in probably assuming that if she spoke with Memphis, she probably knew she had Kaiser. But if she spoke to Memphis, she spoke to a couple other people, that they were going to automatically want to work with her.
Right.
And she needed to not look at that way. She needed to look that way. She could have been the queen of that side.
Do you think she cared because she's guaranteed? Again, she was guaranteed money.
No, she's a player. She doesn't.
Player?
Oh yeah, she doesn't throw anything, and I think she has a real.
That's why that's why she's one of the best in the game. I think that's why so many people love her, because she is really, really competitive, but she will also be the first person to go, it's a game. It's a game. You know,
I like her amazing race.
Going at 110%. She does her very best, which is why did she actually cry? I mean, this year when she said, "I can't win anything."
No, she didn't cry when she couldn't win anything. She was crying when she couldn't convince Nicole that they were on her side.
Which again, we go back to Nicole. It's like going.
I'm so sad she's gone. I was so excited to see her get to come in and own this show, and it just did not happen.
Why people because the first 4 people voted up. People were upset.
Yeah,
and it was people that weren't. It was easy vote outs. It was like, oh, because they're coming after you. Oh, because they have a big alliance. Like, why would you even target? Well, because.
But that's part of the problem of this season. That I think that so many people are like they've tuned in when it first came. They're okay. Let's see how they're going to do this, and they watched the people that we as viewers usually tend to root for, just like or favorites, just get knocked out the door for all of. We might like some of the people that are in this big alliance, but it's so frustrating you constantly have this storyline where you know something great could happen, but it doesn't because nobody changes their mind.
And the ratings are down, like we said earlier, and they weren't competing against. Now the NFL's back, and the NFL's back on Thursday nights and Sunday nights. So it's like, what?
Yeah. What's that?
The NFL?
Yeah.
National Football League.
Oh, I think I've heard of it.
Okay,
but I'm saying kick around the black and white ball.
Big Brother had nothing, and people couldn't go out to bars. Can't go out to bars. They can. Right. I think most places you can't go out to bars. You can't go out for dinner.
Starting on Monday, you can go everywhere here.
Yeah, come here. You can go wherever you want. It's cool. It's fine.
That makes sense.
They don't care. There's no more rules. It's the Wild West.
If you feel like you are not getting what you want out of life, just go to a city council meeting. We have a super Karen that fancies herself an attorney, and she'll fix it up for you. She's there every city council to make sure you can go to the bar.
Yeah.
Again, I still like my suggestion last week of you get 20 Karens, male and females that are just people that are just out of control and not reasonable.
Karen, they don't know they're a Karen. So like they would have to be nominated by other people because they would not know to apply.
You just go on YouTube and you go, okay.
Oh, you just reach out?
That person taking that person. Because like you said, they don't know they're a Karen.
So wait, does that couple,
they won't be able to control themselves?
Does the couple from St. Louis get to take their guns in the game?
Oh my God.
That's a good extreme.
But legitimately, every real Karen that I know, like a Karen with their actual birth name is Karen, they're all delights.
They are.
I don't understand it.
She's amazing.
Yeah, I don't get it.
They can do.
Because one person named Karen just lost it, and
she was that bad.
Ruined that name forever.
That would be really good.
They're like, because I know the Karen that does the Lost Rewatch with me. Sometimes I go, "Hey, Karen," and I'm not saying that in a mean way,
right?
Because sometimes that sounds like I'm being a jerk, but that's not my fault. That's her name.
Yeah,
that's what she was born with.
It's funny that it got stuck with Karen because a couple of years ago you'd hear people say, "Okay, Susan," or "Okay, Becky," and "Okay, Karen," because it was just the typical white lady names. But now Karen really stuck.
Yeah, Karen
Susan and Becky, they got off.
Yep.
Easy.
Guess Debbie's not such a downer anymore, huh?
Well, she might still be a downer. But she's
those
not a Karen,
those names are never coming back because it's like It's like, who's going to name their kid Karen? Nobody.
So do we dare ask how many people are left on the wall now? Do we know?
There's a winner. Yep, there's a
Okay.
winner.
Let's do it because I think it's time to wrap it up. Then we can find out. But thanks for everyone who joined us in the chat. This was I thought a fun week. Fun. At least there's something going on.
And now, because there's not very many of the non-alliance people, they're going to have to start picking each other off. They have to.
This week might be interesting.
Yeah. I feel like it started this week, and there's some kind of like thorns in people's sides, and maybe this next week it'll start to happen.
Yep.
Well,
we might not like everybody that gets thrown under the bus, but the game's about to get stirred up. So
yeah, bloodbath time.
Well, that's good. That's what I've been waiting for.
Yeah.
And we'll be back next Thursday, maybe with the old JP. I don't know.
We'll see.
I don't know. Maybe his teeth. Maybe his teeth.
He has the jokes.
Yeah,
he does.
Or JP. All right, guys, that's it. I can't wait to shut this off so I can find out who won household. It's funny. This is the only show I like to be spoiled on.
Yep.
Right.
I like to be spoiled. I know all the information before I even watch it.
Because then you can start in your head, start thinking about what's going to happen and what.
That's why the game works. I don't think the game would have lasted nearly as long without the live feeds and the updates, and because you're constantly involved with that house.
Well, I know I said I want to stop, but one last thing: is the show in trouble?
No.
They have been saying that they've been saying it's in trouble for 15 years.
Yeah, I don't think it's.
No, they're going to have to change it up, though. We have new watching. It needs to change up.
With a lack of other scripted things out there for CBS, this is not an expensive show for them to produce because, I mean, they give out some money to these people and they have to pay production, which they have on any show. But this has got to be a pretty cheap show for them. Because
they also have a lot. I don't think there's a show that has this many commercials.
No.
This show has a lot of commercials.
Love Island probably won't make it. I think last week they only had like 1 million viewers. Like I don't think that
because it's on every single night. I cannot keep up with the shenanigans.
And I think that you've got your diehard Big Brother fans, and then you've got your diehard Survivor fans, and then you've got the group of people that cross over on both sides. Yeah. And I think the crossover on both sides is what keeps the show going.
I don't know why they ditched The Amazing Race and pushed it.
Did they push it back?
No, but it's been how long? It used to be on twice a year.
Right.
Well, I thought, but don't they have one ready to air after Big Brother's over?
From 2018.
Okay, but still, so they get that aired. If they don't have a lot of things in production for spring, maybe they could do another Big Brother.
But what
have to fill the time.
What hurt
while they're banking up their shows again, you know what I mean?
What hurt Amazing Race was the fact that they took it off Sunday night.
Yes.
And put it on Friday night. It killed it.
Honestly, I think it would be really fun if we got to have some Survivor people. We've had some Big Brother go over to Survivor and Amazing Race. I would love to see some Survivor come into the house.
That would be kind of fun, wouldn't it?
We think we know certain people's personalities and how they operated in the room, but to actually see them,
what? That might be the winning thing. They shouldn't have done All Stars. They should have done Big Brother Survivor Edition.
Yep, I just imagine.
Do you bring back Dan?
Well, and there's like 41 seasons, so you have a lot.
I'm talking about Dan from Survivor.
Yeah, there you go.
But they had a lot of people to pull from.
Can you imagine Dan in the basement? I think that'd be ugly. Can
you imagine all the Survivor players being like, "Wait, we get to eat slop, but we get to eat. Okay, I'll eat the slop. Sure,
right." But then, what do you do with all of that boredom? You know,
people get evicted. It's like my torch. I don't have a torch.
Maybe some of them could finally figure out how to make fire.
Oh my God. I can't even turn the oven on. All right, guys. On that note, that would have been a good one, though. On that note, I think we're out.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Right. Do the JP.